Hey y'all, hi. Today, a YouTube classic, old school, and the kind of video that nobody watches anymore. Chatty get ready with me where I've been. Because I missed a lot of, or we missed a week of posting, basically. And so there was a big gap. It's something that I do want to talk about. And then there are a couple of other things I have notes, like things that I've been meaning to mention or that people ask me to talk about. I'm just going to put makeup on, my regular makeup for today, and chat and go over all of that. I'm feeling a little low energy. I feel like it can't be true that I'm getting sick again. You know, this is the life of someone with a toddler because the toddler's sick again. I'm getting what he has. So apologies if the vibes are a little chill today. Maybe I'll perk up as we go through. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I already feel perked up because it's sort of shaping up to be hybrid. Like a hybrid was cheering me up right now. Chatty, get ready with me where I've been. I started drinking ceremonial drinking cacao. I think I got an Instagram ad targeted by, I want to say it's called Oro. There are a bunch because once I went to the Oro site, I started getting Instagram ad targeted by a bunch of competing companies, like competitors. So clearly it's a thing right now that several companies are trying to do. Anyway, I really like this one. I got the sample pack. I ended up selecting the one that has like adaptogen mushrooms mixed into it. And then I got like a big pack of that and I've been drinking it almost every day. It's just classic drinking chocolate. Like it's really thick. If you just use a little bit of oat milk, which is what I use, it's really thick and it's perking me up. Okay, one topic covered. We're doing it. It's happening. I'm going to put on my sunscreen, the Elta MD. I've been wearing it every day. It's extremely green. It's like fluorescent green in color when you look at it, the blob that you squeeze out, but then it blends out pretty clear. So it doesn't really do the green color correcting that a green color corrector in that color would do. I still really like the fact that it's green because it's designed for people who deal with redness. And also, if it's going to be a color, I would rather it be green, even if the tint is just ever so slight, than be tinted like tan or orange or something. Even if that ends up being clear, it's like I would rather the very light watercolory hint of a barely nothing. I would rather that color be green. And I would rather it be green than like a slightly chalky white too. So I've just been really happy with that. And it feels like skincare. It goes on like skincare. And it's so sturdy on the face and comfortable that I feel comfortable going in with like a primer right on top. So I'm going to use this NARS Light Reflecting Hydrating Primer just a little bit. I've been enjoying this product a lot too. It's simple. It doesn't cause any problems. It adds a nice layer of hydration. It adds a nice reflect, but it's not too extreme in any one direction. Where I've been, I'm going to put on this. Oh, this is new. This is what I got to replace my green color corrector, the one that I had completely used up. This is the Givenchy, and I got this because it's basically the only green color corrector at Sephora that I had experience with that I knew I could depend on. And I was getting a couple of other things from Sephora to test, which I'm not going to talk about today because I think that'll be its whole own separate video. And I was like, I really want to replace my green color corrector at the same time. And this was the only one that I felt confident in. So I have it again. I've had it before. While you're watching the footage of me putting this on my skin and blending it out, I'll go ahead and start telling you what happened last week. So as many of you know, this YouTube channel is actually my day job. This is how we pay the bills. My husband and I run the channel together. We really love it as a day job. It's a lot of work, but we like working for ourselves. And I like that it's dynamic, it changes all the time, and it's creative. But my actual lifelong calling is as a writer. So I am a poet. I have my master's degree in poetry, and I just recently published my first book. This is old news to a lot of people, and I'll link the launch video from my poetry book. I'll link that in the cards in case you want to learn more about it. So the book has been out for about a year, and partway through last year, I got invited to be one of the featured writers at a literary festival, the New Voices Literary Festival at Ithaca College, which is a festival that they throw every year. Every year they invite just 7 writers who are pretty early in their publishing career. So people who have usually just one book, but sometimes it's 2 books. The students who run the festival spend the entire semester studying the books of the writers. And then at the end of the semester, the writers come to the festival and are hosted by all of these students who are intimately familiar with their work, which is just brilliant as the design of an event like this. The students, and the festival is totally student organized, which again is totally amazing because the students were so dedicated, so good at delegating, so thoughtful, detail oriented, and everything just went on off without a hitch. I don't want to wear a lot of base today. I'm going to do a little bit of spot concealing with this NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. But the students also they'd been reading the books and studying the books really deeply all semester. So they really knew us, the 7 of us who were the writers attending the festival, they really knew us as writers very, very well. And it created kind of an extraordinary environment for discussing literature and discussing the details of writing and the themes of the work. It was to the point where I think all of us, including the 7 writers, and we weren't really expecting this, but all of us were able to start seeing how some of the themes were shared across books and across like even the genres of the different writers. They think that the students, because they've been planning the festival for a year, actually did that somewhat intentionally. They tried to select and invite writers whose works would speak to each other's works. And they did that, at least in this case, incredibly successfully. So it was me and one other poet, 2 poets, 1 nonfiction writer, 2 short story writers, 1 fiction writer, and a playwright. A bunch of different genres, a bunch of different types of work, but we all had a lot to talk about in terms of our interests because there were so many shared themes. So I was gone for 4 days. It was the longest I've ever been away from my kid since he was born. It was like full immersion back into my identity as a writer and like really reconnecting with that thoroughly in a way that I haven't since he was born. And that was incredibly nourishing. And I'm so grateful for the students at Ithaca College for throwing this event and for inviting me. What I will say is if you're out there and you're in high school and you are looking at colleges and you're interested in the arts, don't overlook Ithaca College, especially if you're interested in this kind of thing, like arts organization, event planning. The vibe was just very kind, loving, passionate, and the students were all really smart and very dedicated to literature. There was a lot of camaraderie among them, and it felt very authentic. And I felt that the students really loved what they were doing and that they worked incredibly hard, but there wasn't a sense of crippling stress around it, you know? So it just, I was very impressed by the atmosphere there. They do this every year. So if you end up going to Ithaca College, you could potentially join this class and be part of planning this yearly event. I do hope that I get more chances to be a visiting writer at universities because that actually is kind of my dream job. Being on panels, talking with students, visiting classrooms, talking about writing, talking about poetry, especially talking about the interaction between form and content because I work with a lot of inherited forms in my poems and, you know, being able to talk about this form of communication as well. The kind of ideas organization and use of language that makes sense on the internet and on video. I always have thought of it as being really separate from my work as a writer, but now the 2 worlds of thought are kind of starting to converge in my mind and I'm starting to see how, again, they speak to each other across genres because this in a way is its own genre. Not even in a way. YouTube has fully become its own genre. So what an amazing experience to have had. I mean, I can't even get over it. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you. I didn't expect to have a break, right? I just wasn't as ready to go. The day came when I had to get on the plane and go to Ithaca, and I wasn't quite as ready to leave this work as I had hoped to be. So we were a little bit behind. The videos that needed to post were uploaded, but they weren't completed, like the metadata and the thumbnail. And I thought that I would have time when I was traveling, and I completely didn't. I just had none. I just got completely immersed in the world of the festival. I wasn't able to do any of that until I got home. So there was a week between videos. Now I'm back and very happy with the face, like very happy with this. My skin just looks really real. You can still see a little bit of a modeled quality here, but it doesn't look out of place because there isn't like coverage makeup on most of my face. There's a little bit softening the impact of the scars and like healing blemishes and redness, hormonal redness around the nose. There isn't anywhere on my face that has that kind of blanked out quality of coverage makeup. I didn't even use my Refi concealers. I didn't even use a skin tint, you know? I'm really pleased with like the sunscreen layered with the green color corrector and then a little bit of spot concealing. I'm gonna put something in my eyebrows. I'm using the Refi Clear Brow Sculpt and I'm gonna use a little bit of this $1 Billion Brows Micro Brow Pencil in Raven. As you can tell, I'm kind of leaning towards light-ish makeup today. This is really get ready with me for a normal day and a day on which I'm feeling a little bit low energy. I really love this $1 Billion Brows Raven pencil. I like the soft black color. I like the quality of it. While I was finishing my brows, I was reflecting on the the fact that I have to tell you about the books. This is just madness, okay? I cannot just say that I went to this festival. I have to tell you. I'm going to do it really quickly. Okay, I'm just going to zoom through. So the nonfiction book is called The Riddles of the Sphinx. The writer is Anna Schechtman. She was, I think at this point, the second youngest woman to ever publish a crossword puzzle in the New York Times. She's a crossword puzzle constructor. And she was Will Shortz's assistant for a really long time. He's like the main crossword puzzle guy at the New York Times. And then she wrote this gorgeous book about her personal history. It's part memoir, and it also tells the story of the history of the crossword puzzle as basically something that was like defined and created by women, but then like many disciplines, once it hit the big time, it started to become a male-dominated field, even though women are such an integral part of its history, the history of the crossword puzzle specifically. That's Anna's book. Really recommend. The novelist was Jinu Chong, who wrote Flux, which I haven't read. His new book is I Leave It Up to You, which I did read, and it was like absolute manna for the softies among us, and a really delightful, beautifully written, and kind of like soul coddling read. It makes you feel good. It's easy to get into. There's so much that's fresh about it. It's about a guy who wakes up from a coma unexpectedly and has missed a lot of important things that have actually happened in the world in the past 5 years. The premise is very gripping, and being like in the head of the point of view character who's waking up from a coma is a brilliant way to start a novel. And of course, he's lost everything, right? He has to completely start over because essentially he's been in the coma for years and nobody thought he was going to wake up. Mouth by Paloma Ghosh is, I think, actually a must read in every single way. Totally gripping, bizarre horror stories that also have a kind of levity. I'm not a horror film watcher, you know what I mean? It's not the kind of genre I usually think of myself as being obsessed with, but I was obsessed with this book from like the first page. It sucked me all the way in. Really kind of blew the top off my brain in terms of like what short stories are, what fiction is for. The nature of the feminism in Paloma's work really left its stamp on my brain. You know, it like built a new room in my brain, and the door is there and it's like I can open it and go into it anytime, and it's permanent. I'm so grateful for that. It's also just really lush and dark and sort of doesn't take itself too seriously, again, at the same time, like really easy to read. It makes you read it. It pulls you through it. So you have to read Mouth. Stories I Wrote for the Devil by Ananda Lima, an extraordinary, multi-layered book essentially about a writer who slept with the devil in her youth decades ago, then like the relationship that they developed from there. But it is also unhinged, unexpected, fresh feeling, and the prose is phenomenal. Have you ever read The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers? And there's this an unbelievable, sort of, to me, famous, I think it's famous, like I think it's like a pivotal scene in American literature because of the way that Carson McCullers describes what's going on of the point of view character while music is also playing. If you know that book, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? The scene where the writer sleeps with the devil in Craft by Ananda Lima, which is right towards the beginning, right? It's like the sort of the opening event, but the culminating event of the opening story, this actual congress with the devil, to me it is like the Heart is a Lonely Hunter music scene. It feels like an updated version of that in that it's so lyrical and it just kind of wraps itself around you as you're reading it. So definitely read that. The other poet at the event was Jamaica Baldwin, and her first book is called Bone Language. Especially if you have purchased and read Julia Hungry, my book, and you really enjoyed it, get Bone Language, because we're doing different things. We're relating to craft in different ways, but both really kind of up to our armpits in the sounds of language. Jamaica's doing a lot of work in her poetry reckoning with her childhood and her family, and it's like very in the body and somewhat fantastical and magical realistic in some places. And if Julia Hungry kind of got you on the poetry train and you're not really sure where else to go, try reading Bone Language. It was such a privilege to be able to meet Jamaica at this event. And lastly, the playwright Jake Brosh. Y'all, if you live in Denver, Colorado, look look up Jake's play, The Reservoir, which is about to premiere, I think, or it's probably maybe even up already as I'm publishing this video. Literally, if you live close enough to go see this play, click away from this video and go get tickets. The culminating event of the literary festival was seeing Jake's play, a staged reading of it. And this is their most recent and I think most successful play so far. So they've been writing plays for a long time, had a lot of plays staged. Jake is like just a magical, vibrant person flourishing in the New York theater scene. But this play has really taken off, is really special. We were in stitches the entire, like literally when people say everybody laughed and everyone also cried, everyone was belly laughing during The Reservoir and not a single eye was dry at the end. So hopefully there will be more stagings of The Reservoir. But if you have the chance, I mean, I was about to like book a plane ticket to go to Denver and see the current one. I'm going to look it up right now. Yes, June 18th through the July 20th. The Gil Cates Theater in partnership with Denver Center for the Performing Arts and Alliance Theater. Literally, really, truly not to be missed, my friends. Okay, we did it. I'm not sure that I did them justice. I'm a little spacey today. And you know, with all the travel and sickness, it's like Felix and I have both been sick. Like I feel like half of the time since the beginning of this year. And it seems like as soon as we get better, we get sick again. So it just feels like my life and my identity and my schedule keep getting taken apart and put back together again. And I'm currently at the like just got put back together again stage and the computer's still rebooting. And now I'm trying to tell you about like 6 extraordinary writers and their work all within the span of one part of one video. I'm gonna move on to a couple of other things that are cheering me up and continue doing my makeup. I like forgot I was even doing my makeup. What is life? Who am I? What's my job? What am I doing here? I found Sleepy Girl. I had lost it. I'm gonna wear it today. Sleepy Girl, the Road Blush, always makes me feel better about life. Not that I'm feeling that bad. I mean, I don't like being sick, but I'm sort of like overwhelmed by having gotten to do this and by having met these people. And the weird thing is, while it was happening, it was so real. I was like, I can't wait to tell everyone about this. I can't wait to talk about this on YouTube. Now it feels like a dream. Like I got home and it very quickly started to feel like a dream and feel like sort of lost in the annals of my memory, even though it was just less than a week ago. I guess it was a week ago now. Got a little more makeup on. It's all right. It's happening. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna do like a little bronzer because that's my vibe these days. I'm still using this Chicatera What's Up Beauty bronzer, but I'm also kind of looking for bronzer recommendations. This one just feels a little dry to me and a little matte. I do like the color. Tell me, are there any really pale, sort of rosy bronzers out there where you really love the finish? That's what I want. Something that feels really skin caring, skin loving, and that I can use to do this. Kind of just make my skin look a little bit healthier. Okay, here's what I wanted to talk about elsewise. It has been really hard to stay on the meditation horse since having a kid. I've kind of been on again, off again. You may remember if you've been around. I took my friend Julia Frodal, who teaches this extraordinary meditation class every January. It's over this year now, but you can go through a self-taught version of it. I love being in the group class, but there's a self-run, like you can take the class online as like a self-taught class anytime. So that's available and I'll link that. Julia has given me a discount code. She's like working on affiliate marketing. It's so amazing. It's like the most valuable thing that I've ever talked about, I guess is what I'll say. I love being able to introduce you to wonderful things that I think add value to a person's life. And this is on an entire other level, right? So I talk about it from time to time, Julia's work. It's amazing that she's like getting on board with a discount code, right? So if you sign up for any of her classes, if you decide to do the self-taught class, you can get a discount using my affiliate code on Julia's work. I use this Rhode lip liner because I can't find any of the Merit ones. I had to hide them. The toddler loves playing with makeup and until recently hasn't really understood that if you open it, there's like something really exciting inside. So he's like played with the shapes, tried to open things, but hasn't really been able to figure it out. He still can't get twist off lids, and I have been careful not to show him how to do it, but I know that the days of him being able to play safely in my makeup bag are numbered and actually might have come to an end because just yesterday he was playing with the Merit lip liners and like popped the top off and he was like, whoa, I had to take them all away. He can't figure out anything else. But because I took them away, they're not here in my bag anymore, but the Rhode lip liner is. This color is called Balance and I really love the little silicone applicator on the end. It's weirdly shaped like the tip of a highlighter marker, but bizarrely, it works really well for blurring out the edge. Also, bizarrely, the color's a little bit like warm and caramelly on me, but I feel like it works. It just works. So a couple of years ago, I took Julia's meditation class in January. I went all in. I didn't have a child yet, right? So I went all in. And over the course of that year, I got to the point where I was meditating for 30 minutes a day, not guided, just doing it. It totally changed my life. I really loved it for its own sake. I think if I hadn't had a child, would have just continued on that trajectory and fully integrated it into my schedule just as solidly as like eating, right? It would have just become absolutely non-negotiable until the end of time because that was how it was. And I remember talking to my friend Amy, one of my meditation group partners in that first year. Her kids are grown now, but she's had a couple kids. And she was like, you're not going to be able to keep meditating every day. I remember thinking like, I'll find a way. I'll get back to it really soon. At the time, I was like, I don't want to know myself without daily meditation. Like, I don't want to go back to that self, to that person. I don't want to live like that anymore. That's really how I felt. I was like, I can't, for the sake of not just my child and my husband and my friends, family, but also just myself. But for all of our sakes, I was like, I can't go back to not being someone who has this as part of my life. So I was like, we'll see, Amy. And I was like, we'll see. But she was totally right. It's been so hard to get back to having it integrated as a part of my daily life so effortlessly, just because it's hard to find the time. It's hard to make time. There's no time. It's taken me this long. I've been a little bit off and on. I've taken the meditation class again, but it's just been really hard to fully recommit in that complete way. Lately, I really started using Julia's app, using her guided meditations as like a way to get my foot back in the door and open it. And also for my birthday, my father gave me a meditation bench, which is making sitting much more comfortable. I will link the one that he sent to me. It's also very beautiful. So we're not exactly back again, but I still have the muscle memory of where I was, where I had gotten to. So it doesn't actually feel as far away as I feared that it would. And that I just wanted to update you because it's something that I've talked about a lot in the past. And I get a lot of comments like, tell us about your meditation journey. And the reality is just that lately it's been really hard because it's been hard to do anything regularly. But I'm getting back to it. I'm really grateful to Julia for offering this app and glad that I thought to tell you about the code because she gave it to me a long time ago and I keep forgetting to tell you. That's kind of all I want to talk about. Lots of people are asking about my health ring. It's not an Oura ring. It's an Ultrahuman Ring, which is like their competitor. It basically does the same thing. So I really like it. It's like an Apple Watch, except it doesn't have a screen on it, but it's like monitoring, right? The thing that I really like about it is, oh my gosh, I'm going to say something that I wasn't expecting to say. The thing that I really like about it is that it's reality. Like it's actually showing the reality of how much I'm sleeping, how stressed I am, all of this stuff. And that shows me that my concept of how I'm doing health-wise is often not true. There's a lot of sort of guilt and negative self-talk, as they say, getting in the way of me actually seeing clearly what I'm doing and for my health. The best example is sleep, that I tend to really beat myself up for not getting enough sleep. I'm like, I stayed up too late. I spend the whole evening after my child goes to bed being like, I've got to go to sleep. I've got to go to sleep. I'm staying up too late. And then I get in bed and I'm like, oh, I should have gotten to sleep earlier. I should have gotten more sleep. And then I get up the next day and I'm like, I should have gotten more sleep. But I got the ring, and after wearing it for a week or so, it was like, you could sleep a little more, but the ring was like, actually, you're getting close to 8 hours a lot of the time, generally fine. And that caused me to really relax about whether or not I'm getting enough sleep. And it's also sometimes I don't get enough and it's like, oh, you've got a sleep deficit of like half an hour, so try to get a little more tonight. It's just chill. It's like, it's okay. And it'll tell me if I didn't sleep that well or slept well, but overall, it's like giving me the big picture, which is like, you're actually kind of fine. And that really revealed to me the narrative that I have, which is like, I'm doing terribly. I have no discipline. I'm like not doing enough. I'm not perfect. Isn't that wild? It's like, that's the thing that it showed me. It also motivates me to try to get a good sleep score, so it's bringing it to the forefront of my mind, but in a concrete way rather than in this abstract kind of guilt way, the abstract guilty way that really contains like a narrative from my youth of me being someone who doesn't get up early early enough and doesn't get enough sleep. And like, it's really time to leave that at the door because I'm a grown woman. I can sleep however I want. I'm actually doing fine. The ring told me so. So that's been amazing. One of you commented, and I saw this interesting comment from someone who tried the Oura ring and didn't like it because it was like, felt chastised by it for doing something like having a drink with friends or something. That hasn't been my experience. And maybe it doesn't have as detailed data. It doesn't know if I have a drink. Like, it doesn't know that I'm like ceremonial drinking cacao. It doesn't know. So I have had the opposite feeling. I've had the opposite reaction. And I feel like more confident and okay. Like health is a little more achievable, even though I haven't been getting enough steps in and all of this stuff. It's just seeing the data makes me realize that it's the black and white thinking of before was like success or failure. Like I'm either healthy or not. And I was squarely I felt in this realm of not. The ring has added nuance. I look at it and I'm like, oh, I haven't gotten as many steps as the ring thinks I should be getting, but I've gotten a lot. That's better than just every day being like, I've failed today to be healthy. So I really like it. Another place I've been, this is what, am I done with my makeup? No. Oh, did I tell you what I put on my lips? This was PR from NARS. The color, can you even? Someone in the lab was like, let's make something for Hannah Louise Poston specifically. It is the milk chocolate of my dreams. It's the shade Smooth Talk. It's clear, especially because I have a little bit of pigment to my lips. The color's not really showing, but it's also not like pink. You know, it's the perfect color for a clear product for me. However, the component feels very plasticky. It's weird. It looks good, but I'm used to NARS feeling a little more quality. It feels, I think it might have something to do with the pressure from the inside that's pushing it out when I'm twisting it. That is somehow contributing to the component feeling like it's made out of cheap materials and it's very lightweight. I don't know what it is. It's just, it's so surprised me because of what I've come to expect from NARS that I felt like it was worth mentioning. But I like the product. It's like a nourishing feeling lip oil type thing. The product is Afterglow Lip Shine. I like it. Conspicuously bare are my eyelids. I just don't really feel like wearing eye makeup today. I think that is how it's going to be. I think what has happened is you've gotten ready with me. But I wanted to tell you, I have to show you this. Do you know what this is? The Claire V masculine feminine sweatshirt that I have wanted for years. Like this has been on my wish list. Claire V is a really cool LA-based designer. And I've been aware of her handbag designs for years because she, when the brand was really small and young, made this like fold over clutch that I think they still make, but I was in the store. This is the last story I'm going to tell. So overwhelmed. All right, history. I was obsessed with this fold over clutch. To me, for a long time, it was like the perfect bag because it was just this simple fold over, large, like a big fold over wallet. I'll try to put a picture, I'll link it or something. It's still available, but I don't know how many different colors it comes in. And in the store I was in recently, it was only there in one color, which was this black and white weave that wasn't my exact vibe. But I did see it and it brought back the memories, you know? Little young Hannah in her 20s just lusting after Claire V, really watching the brand and following her future career with great interest, then seeing this sweatshirt launch and being like, it's literally the sweatshirt of my dreams. And it's really soft and just like luxe feeling, but it's expensive. Okay, it's like a designer. It's this like independent, really cool designer. It's expensive. And I had never bitten the bullet. There have been times I've had it in my cart, and then just been like, I can't do this right now. Claire V invited me to their store to pick something out. So I went to the store and this sweatshirt was there. I'm going to make a reel about it or something. I have some content that I took when I was in the store, so I'll put some like B-roll on the screen right now so you can see what it was like. It was incredibly fun to go, especially because it's a brand that I've been admiring from afar and following for a really long time. I'm gonna end it there. So that's where I've been. That's my makeup. That's what's been cheering me up right now. That's what you should read. Read the books of the other new voices from the Ithaca Festival. You know, if you're a college student, mention to your English department, your creative writing department that you know a poet who would love to come and read and speak, or your communications department, talk to classes about making videos. I'm available. I'm now booking for the 2025-2026 school year. I hope this video wasn't too boring. We'll be back to like more contemporary, algorithm-friendly content pretty soon. But for the time being, if you're still here, you're a real one. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.